distant ancestors. Leaving tracks. Once upon a million years ago, A. Afarensis, the petite and hairy mother of us all, walked the shore of Tanganyika's lake, leaving a trail in newly fallen volcanic ash. This morning, I followed my 2-year-old's muddy prints from the lettuce patch into her mother's kitchen, each shapely step fainter than the last. The way we'd lose track of our great grand ape were it not for the fossil trace of her broad feet, the load-bearing arches which held her almost erect, and her 10 pretty toes. All right, another poem for my children who are not here, but I think this speaks to the violence of their imaginations. This is one of those poems that has a title like a headline in something like the National Enquirer. It's called Child Eaten by Enraged Sow. If only my mother had read National Enquirer the last time another porker pigged out on some poor child, I might still be alive and not a piece of that mildly smoked sausage on your plate. All I wanted was to pet the piglets, as innocent as anyone can be who breakfasts on patties and links. I was a victim of history, that old sow who eats her farrow, the long exploitation of swine leading me to the fatal moment, those miniature squeals, the warning that might have been tires protesting their lack of traction, that mud-caked and fly-specked expanse of pigskin, a flurry of trotters and truncated snout, the sharp and terrible teeth. Who could save me then? Not my mother, lazy and surprised as a house pet by the onset of a cougar or wildcat. Not even St. Francis. I was doomed once that first boar was penned and accepted his captor's bland and genial gifts of food. Okay, this is a sort of a found poem. I don't know if you read like I do that trashy the San Francisco Examiner, but they have wonderful wine reviews, and I don't know, the language of wine reviews is perhaps the silliest of all possible writing. Maybe only exceeded by fashion writing, but this is taken from an article, or parts of it are taken from an article, and you'll kind of recognize what's what, called Select Gavies Making a Comeback. Gavi is a type of Italian wine that's made in a section of Italy where my people come from, Piedmont, which is up here near the Alps, okay? So I refer to that in the poem. This is called When I Come Back. This is a reincarnation poem, I guess. When I come back, I want to live where my people lived, in the hills of Piedmont. Piedmont, foot of the mountain, Alps glowing in the distance, candles faint in daylight. Father and mother, to countless grapes, I'll delve my strong brown roots into red limestone and clay, and fill them with an intense and subtle purity, with chamomile overtones and a hint of barely ripe peaches, with a rich mineral quality, a whiff of almond oil and plum. Sturdy and fecund, I will shun overcropping and phylloxera, which is a disease of grapes. Vinified and aged in stainless steel tanks, full-bodied and flavorful, tart, acid, nut-like, with minerals underneath, they will be revered as some of Europe's finest, and great with fish. I'm dying to try agave, I gotta tell you. Okay, this is my last poem. This is another childhood poem, but maybe a little more serious than some of my others. It's called A Habit of Ascent. I'm thinking of writing actually a memoir called The Ascent of Monkey Boy. And I would start with this image of a tree where I spent a good deal of my youth, a habit of ascent. Childhood, the first eternity, as I wandered our vast acre, trying to escape the sun. How lonely it seemed with no children nearby, just my sister, an insistent mouth feeding at mother's troubled breast. The catalpas fanned heart-shaped leaves like ants, trying to save their powder from streaking. No clambering into their narrow laps. The pear oozed like a teenager, craggy with acne. Its bark a magnet for columns of rock-climbing ants. I circled the firs, transplanted Christmas trees, shaggy and dangerous as bears fattening for winter, and stroked the knees of elm and oak, giants absent-mindedly sipping cocktails as the wind riffled their hair. Only the apple, grandmother tree, my refuge from the skies and warmest flame, was short and broad enough to harbor this restless climber. A cool green fire ignited her in spring when I climbed into flowered lace and huddled in the second crook, watching leaves, then apples, sweeten on stems. Here, where all the trouble began, in the garden of the heart, russet caterpillars drilled homes in green apples. At night, I dreamed the whole miracle again, an explosion of branching into darkness, and yet I wanted more, some escape from what I was, from what my parents wanted me to be. Come morning, I draped myself along a limb like a python, inhale the musky perfume, the swollen fruit, as if this had always been my home.